Hey guys, Mike from Craft Beer Storm, your host. Also founder brewer at Bear Brewing Company in glorious Portsmouth, New Hampshire. It is Monday. That means we interview somebody today. And who are we interviewing? We're going to Pittsburgh, PA. Pittsburgh, and we're going to interview Dennis Guy. He's the founder and CEO of First Sip Brew Box. He's doing a lot of good things down there. He's connecting breweries with manufacturers. They're manufacturing products with their beer, and then he's just shipping it all over the place, all over the world now, right? He's got people in New Zealand, and he's growing, which is fantastic. He's a veteran, great guy, and I spent some time with him to talk about his business and the local beer scene. So without further ado, here we go. And we're on with Dennis Guy. He's the founder and CEO of First Sip Brew Box. How you doing, Dennis?
Very good, Mike. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad I got you on. We got connected, and you're doing something interesting. We're like 360 in the craft beer world. We just don't interview like brewers and people who make beer. We interview everybody, and your product is unique. So tell us about First Sip Brew Box. What is it, and what do you guys sell?
Absolutely. So we got started, my wife and I, about right around 4 years ago. I'm an Army veteran. She's a social worker, and really started trying to figure out what can we do to follow our dreams. She bought me a beer making kit about 5 years ago now, and brewed my first beer, and I fell in love with the whole process. It really is.
Are you still brewing now? You're still doing the home brewing? Yeah. All right, cool.
Still doing the home brewing. I love it. Just actually brewed a smoked rye porter. So eager to try that guy out, see how it turns out.
Very nice. Yeah.
So she got me that beer kit, and then we started talking. All right, well, let's start a brewery. Like, that's what we want to do. No market research at all. We just wanted to do it. So, a month or so goes by. We do copious amounts of market research. And in that time frame, around Western Pennsylvania, breweries were just popping up left and right. And once we found out that you're going to need, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 to start a brewery unless you're, VC backed and you have assets, all that stuff. And we didn't want to, answer to a board or anything. So we're like, all right, what else can we do that doesn't cost so much money to get started, but still be a part of the craft beer world, right?
You know what? A lot of people who've started breweries are probably thinking about what you just said, and they're like, you know what? This guy's a smart guy. Because it's tough to open. I mean, I started my own brewery on my own, right? It's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Me and my 401k, and that was it.
Yeah.
And yeah. But I'm sorry, keep going.
No, man, because with you, it's definitely unique because you have a brewery. You went down that route, right? So then we pivoted and we wanted to send beer in the mail. And then the great state of Pennsylvania, where we drink beer like pilgrims on the Mayflower in the Commonwealth, it's so many beer laws. So legislation was on our side at that time, and it became legal to ship PA beer to residents in PA. We were like, all right, we got this. We can do this.
Okay.
And after talking to the legal counsel for 3 or 4 months, they finally said, hey, Dennis, you're the first ones trying to do this. To be safe, how about you buy a restaurant or a beer distributor and attach a license to it? I'm like, great. We're right back at $250,000.
Yeah, right.
$300,000.
Just go buy a distributor, right? Yeah. No problem. Let me write a check, right?
Just nothing, right?
Yeah.
Let me get that on my sock.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So then we pivoted one last time to the model that we have today, where we focus just on the branding, the merchandise, the story of how that brewery got started, what they're doing through collaborative T-shirt designs, pint glasses, stickers, coasters, that kind of stuff. And then we'll do projects where we connect the brewery to small businesses to make something unique out of the beer if we can get a hold of it. For example, like beer barbecue sauces, hot sauces, soaps, candles, even coffee out of malts and hops and all kinds of crazy stuff. You never know what you're going to get. And we do something different every single month, and we send it out all over the country. We have subscribers in the U.S., Canada, Ireland, Brazil, and now New Zealand.
Wow.
Super pumped about that. If we never went through all that heartache to get to where we are, we never would have realized we can partner with a saturated market, not necessarily compete against it. It doesn't matter how old you are, and it opened us up to international customers. So it's kind of, a little bit about what we do and how we got there.
Collaboration is the key, and you're never too old to do anything. I mean, if you're still living, you're still walking, breathing, you can do it. Age is a man-made thing. You just got to keep thinking that way, and it's true. You're as I guess young as you feel, but I see, and I see on the website. So you get subscribers, and then they have what exactly do you send to them? I guess you make products. I see there's soap, and then there's some kind of hot sauces and stuff like that. I mean, do you actually? How do you make those? Do you contract with other companies, and you match the beer with the company, and then they make it, or does the brewery do it, or I don't know, how does that work?
Right, a good question. So we've created a platform where we act as the web that connects, breweries to small businesses and other business clients and subscribers. So if we, for example, let's say we worked with your brewery, and you say, Dennis, I want to get into a brew box. We'll talk it out. We'll figure out, what merchandise you want to have featured in there, and based upon your story, like what your brewery stands for. We'll find a small business that we can team you up with to do a collaborative project and make something out of your beer if we can get a hold of it.
That's cool. It's kind of a local thing, and you're connecting businesses and making something happen.
Right. So we work with any brewery in the country, but traditionally we'll team up with local businesses to produce these products because it'll be easier for us to get a hold of it. We're helping out our local economy, everything along those lines. But if that product type doesn't exist, for example, we work with a company out of Alabama that makes tea out of hops. No one in Pennsylvania does that. So, we have to go and figure out where those folks are and partner with them.
That's interesting. And then logistically you get the beer to wherever, and then they make soap out of it or whatever.
Right.
But also you're supporting local businesses. They're generating income, and also you're doing marketing for them, right? You're exposing them to people who wouldn't normally know that they exist, which is a great thing.
And we're helping those breweries too, right? Because what I found out from working with tons of not just small businesses, but small breweries. We've worked with, Stone, New Belgium, Avery, the big guys, the whole way down to a small brewery right down the street from my house, where my wife and I actually had, got married there. So we're so ingrained into the culture.
Wow.
We talk to those small businesses, and I'm starting to, see that, they got the brewing down, right? They could make great beer. They provide a great atmosphere inside their building. But when it comes to online marketing, branding, advertising, they're just doing the best that they can because most breweries, like the folks running them, still maybe have, a part-time or full-time job on top of running their brewery.
Yeah.
So when we partner with them, we try to help them too, like figure out their customer acquisition costs, plans in place to grow their brewery. Because way too many times have we seen breweries try to expand really quickly, and then it backfire, collapses.
Oh, forget it. Yeah.
Tons of debt, all that stuff. So we try to help them grow organically in other ways without having to take out tons of loans.
Man, I know the story about every time we do Craft Brew News on Friday, and it's just at least one story where someone just got a load of money, scaled up crazy quickly. Like within a year, they were producing crazy amounts of beer, and then the thing blew up.
Right.
Very quickly, very quickly. So it's good to be organic, start small, grow your business from there and expand.
Right. Go through sales, right? Grow through sales.
And
that's what I realized with our business. We got our first loan. We were super pumped. We got $20K. We worked hard for it, had a business plan, had a plan in place. We used it for tons of inventory. Everything was good. A year goes by. Well, probably about 9 months at this point goes by, and everything's fine. We're paying back the loan, but then you look in retrospect, man, I would have used that differently. I would have used it to build front-end sales and then use those sales to buy inventory. Because, for months we had tons of inventory, but then different events and things that we can sponsor and things like that would come up, and we'd be like, well, we don't have the sales coming in, so we can't do that. So just little things like that where we try to help other business owners, learn from what we, our mistakes. Don't go out there and make a mistake on your own. Learn from someone else. Be that learner.
So you're not just connecting businesses, you're also consulting, and you're giving them advice based on what you've seen and what you've done, which is fantastic. That's great.
Absolutely. Our big mission statement is the best friend of a small business is another small business. If they're growing, we're growing, and we live that each and every day.
Collaboration is the way. I mean, what I'm doing here right now, I have the brewery, but I'm doing these craft beer weekends where I'm just going into hotels, selling their empty rooms, showcasing their chefs, doing food and beer pairings, bringing local breweries in. I'm going to do this in Pittsburgh too, so me and you got to talk.
Oh man, and I'm dealing up when you do that. I want to be all over
I want to get
that.
you I want to get you involved. We put them on a bus, take them to local breweries. So it's going to be great. I already scheduled like about 5 events already, and I really haven't done a lot of work.
Wow.
We're going to blow it out. So there you go.
Damn.
So you're the connection to Pittsburgh. All right, we're going to do it. But that's kind of just connecting local businesses together and exposing people to products and businesses that they wouldn't normally even know about. Like it's crazy. And
because some of these small businesses don't even have a website. Some of them.
No, they don't have a website or marketing. Everybody's like, yeah, why don't you just spend like $100 a day on Facebook advertising? I'm like, yeah, right, okay. That's another thing where you just let me just write a check for that. So it's not an easy thing.
Another reason why I don't use marketing companies, because when I first started doing that, they wanted to use my money to figure out a strategy. That's why I had to learn all this on my own. And that's why I came to the conclusion of never pay for an ad. There's so much work that you have to do before you can even create an effective ad. So organic.
You have to test, fail,
Absolutely.
adjust, test, fail, adjust, and then you'll hit something where, hey, this is working, and then you can scale up. But that's a good approach. So you have, and then how do you get your word out that you exist? I mean, how do you market yourself? Because you got people in New Zealand now signing up, right? How do you reach them?
So we created a term called storyable, and I don't know if we created it. It might be out there. It's just a term that just popped in my head. So I got sick and tired of reaching out to, tons of media source outlets saying, we're doing something cool. We're a veteran-owned and woman-owned company. Work with us. Do this story on us. Crickets. And then I realized that, okay, I'm going to create something unique and with a good cause to make these media source outlets come to us. And we did that with multiple things. We created and partnered with Breweries in PA, which is an online platform. They've supported us and helped us since day one. We really help each other grow. They created the largest veteran-owned brewery collaboration in the state of Pennsylvania's history. And we captured the spirit of that collaboration in our brew box by partnering with active duty military artists that design T-shirts and stickers and all kinds of stuff. And then all of a sudden, all this media started coming out of nowhere. Hey, could you give us an exclusive? What's going on here? I was like, haha, we're on to something. And then we recently just did something else with our iconic amusement park here in Pittsburgh. It's called Kennywood. It's been around for well over 100 years. I mean, I remember growing up, the nostalgia. There were days right when you got done with school. They were called Kennywood days. You get a discount. You get to go there. You'd have to have a Kennywood outfit. You would literally go buy clothes just for this day. And
wow.
So we approached them and said, hey, you've never done a beer collaboration with a brewery. How about we help you facilitate that? Thinking a big, corporation like that is probably going to say, oh, little old First Sip Brew Box. Yeah, maybe next year, give us a proposal. But what they actually said was, we are super interested. We've been looking to do this for a long time now, but didn't know how. So we connected them to a small brewery and brewed a beer together and named it after one of their iconic rides, the Log Jammer.
Wow.
So we got a lot of media attention from that. And then that's kind of how our mindset has been. We'll create really unique things, make the media come to us, and then reach out to as many people, yourself included, folks that run, podcasts, blogs, and try to create this platform where we're working with everybody and truly live our mantra of the best friend of a small business is another small business.
Absolutely. Collaboration, and united we stand, divided we fall, right? So
right.
There's strength in numbers, and, you have maybe 2,000 followers, and these other two entities have another 2,000 followers. So instead of just 2,000, now you're reaching 6,000, right? So,
right.
And then the media goes, oh, what's that about? And then they get involved, and then that just spreads it even more. And it, promotes your cause and what you're doing, which is great. And now, how long have you been in business for? I think 2008?
Almost 4 years now. Yeah,
four years. Okay. Years. And how's it going? I mean, you see sales ticking up, or how's it going?
Yeah, so we started off small, right? But every year we've been doubling our revenue. We're already fantastic. At this year where we were for all of last year, and that's without getting into the busiest season of the year.
Wow.
And it doesn't feel like that, right? Because, last year I was still working my full-time job. I worked for a cloud-based software company or a year and a half ago. And then now it's the business income. The wife still works as a social worker because healthcare is insane.
Yeah, I know.
It'll run you out of business.
You're preaching to the choir. I know.
Oh, I know.
Man.
I know.
But that's awesome. And then you left your other job. Now you're doing this full time, or?
Yep, absolutely, 100% full time.
That's
and it's
awesome.
Crazy. Once when you open up your schedule, how much more stuff you can do. And I will work literally. There was a day last week where I put in 36 hours in one day. Well, obviously not one day, but a day and a half, and without sleep. And then my wife, comes back to the office and says, "You haven't been home. You need to go home." I'm like, I didn't even realize what time it was, to be honest. Because when you're working for yourself and doing what you truly love and you're passionate about, you're not watching the clock.
No, you're not. Time is created in age. You just got to keep going, just keep your head down and just plow forward and get it done. We have a passion for something, and that's the only way. And you see it by your revenues doubling every year. I mean, it's fantastic, man.
Right.
And this is just a start, and this thing could explode, and it probably will explode. That's good.
That's
just remember me. I had you on my podcast. Have you been in any other podcasts yet or no?
Yeah, so I actually did Beer Talk Radio with Jenny. She was
with Jenny.
Guests.
Okay,
That's how I learned about your podcast.
Jenny's great. I got to reconnect with her. Yeah.
I was like, oh, who's this Mike guy? I want to, hang out with him for a little bit.
Yeah, she was talking about food and beer pairing. I was getting hungry, the way she was talking about it, and then. Man, she's very talented.
You're not kidding.
Yeah.
I literally had to go grab food right after I listened to that episode. I don't know how you did it without
food in the beer. Yeah. I gotta connect with her and meet her. She's out in is she still in California? I guess San Francisco.
Yes.
She bounces back between San Francisco, and then she was living in Las Vegas for a little bit. But I'll connect with her at some point.
I think she's back in California. I did some work with her. I work with Hop Nation USA. They are a craft beer podcast that's here in Pittsburgh. I actually have them on the books for tomorrow.
Great.
And I just did a big radio station /podcast called WTF Nation, which is a big veteran and military podcast.
That's awesome.
Which was super cool, to hang out with those guys for a little bit. And that's what I love about podcasts. You never know who's listening. That's how we had our folks from New Zealand, and we are actually expecting an order from Nepal.
My God.
So that would be really cool. All from podcasts, man.
Podcasts, you put it out there, and it just gets, it's the wave of the future. I mean, a lot of people are like, what's a podcast? I'm like, you're going to find out soon what a podcast is, because it's just, everything is audible now. They have Alexa. Hey, Alexa, what's the temperature outside? You don't have to.
Right.
It just tells you. And then podcasts are going to, I want to learn about stouts. And that's where hopefully my podcast comes in. We talk about beer styles, and then that'll pop up and then go so we do 3 podcasts a week. So I'm like you, I just do it. I got to do it. And I get them out there, and I haven't missed a day. Thank God. Knock on wood. in like a year.
Yeah.
Like I just do three. So we have hundreds of podcasts out there. But it's cool, and I like to interview people like you, not just brewers. But what you're doing is not just putting swag in a box. You're connecting businesses. You're giving them advice. I mean, what you're doing is fantastic.
Thank you so much.
That's
I appreciate
great stuff,
that.
man. Awesome stuff. So, so you're in Pittsburgh. How's the Pittsburgh beer scene out there? I mean, is it? You got a couple breweries out there. How many breweries? You have a lot of breweries out. Is it crazy or what?
Man, there's like 60 breweries in Western Pennsylvania, and there's
Holy cow.
Within the rest of 2019, there's scheduled, I believe, at least another 5 to 10 to open up for the remainder of the year. It's just blowing up all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, there's 7,500 in the U.S., and that's just doubled. I think in the past 4 years it's doubled, and now there's another 1,500 online to open up by next year. So we're approaching 10,000 breweries, which, and I don't think I think it'll just keep going. I think there'll be some consolidation. A lot of these guys will just get a lot of money from banks, from banks who don't know. Tell me where you're getting that money from, because I want to go to the same place. A lot of these guys get money and then they just destroy it. They buy all this equipment. They don't know what they're doing, and then it just gets it's horrible.
And like you said earlier, start small, man. I think the struggle makes you refine your skill set to survive. Like if we didn't struggle, we wouldn't have found out multiple other revenue verticals to really get our business going.
You have to, because like these people that win the lottery, right?
Yep.
And they have all this cash. They don't know what the hell to do with it. They lose it within a year. It's all gone, like millions of dollars, because they don't know how to handle it. They don't know what to do.
Right.
If you start small, you get what I say is like there's walls that are thrown up. People throw up walls, and either you have to go around the wall, scale the wall, tunnel under the wall, or blast right through it. Usually, I blast through a couple of walls, and people are not happy, but I don't care because it's my business and it's going to happen. So we have the brewery, and I'm doing the podcast, and these other things that are popping up, and ideas that I have, and it's just it grows. It grows, and you think of something else, and then hey, I should do this, and you try it out. If it fails, it fails, but if it works, you say, okay, let me take it to the next level. It's the same thing with beer.
It takes that one thing to blow up.
Yeah, and that's all you need, so it's a good thing. And you must talk to a lot of brewers out there. What are the challenges they're facing? Like, what do you hear from them?
So the biggest things I talk with them about are how to, effectively grow your business without having to invest tons of money into equipment, everything along those lines, and how to stay relevant, right? I think that's one of the hardest things, because with the market getting as crowded as it is in the craft beer sector, it's tough to differentiate yourself, right? And you can get buried, and then that's how people trying to come up with really unique ideas. That's how glitter beers are born. Just trying to have that next thing, because the crowd is always expecting that next greatest thing. I know. So just that feeling that you have to keep up with it. And I talk to them like, hey, you don't have to make the sexiest beer out there. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't make any hazy boys, because that's what if that's what the people want. But it also doesn't mean you can't have a plan in place to do a really clean Pilsner and market it to the right demographic as a segue beer to get folks that are drinking those macro brews to come in, because you have a nice clean Pilsner, not a triple Oreo IPA Imperial White Russian Stout.
People taste that stuff and they're like, what the hell is this? And they get turned off. You need that gateway beer. So I think they call them gateway beers. Right. You can just bring them in and then
Pilsner.
Yeah. Bring them in and they say, wow, this beer is really good. What else you got? And then you ease them in.
Right.
And it's converting people. And that's kind of what this podcast is all about, exposing local beers. And, And on Wednesdays I do beer styles. I go down the Great American Beer Festival list. There's like 102 different styles, right?
Oh,
and there's subcategories in each style. So there's crazy amounts of different beer. People don't know about it, but we try to expose that to them and just say, hey, there's not just like lagers and IPAs. There's just all kinds of other stuff that you should really
there's
should try.
There's something out there you like.
That you don't know about, but you should try it, yeah. I like the idea of local and I mean, how's the Pennsylvania laws, for brewing? All these states are so different, and I see different. I think Pennsylvania is pretty cool. I don't know. What is your vibe about Pennsylvania?
Oh, Pennsylvania loves you brewing beer. They just don't want you sending it anywhere.
That's the whole thing. Well, you can't. I had guys on the podcast. They build platforms right on the internet where they can ship beer, but there's only about 9 states that allow that. And then, and then in each state, you got to get a license to export it, and the other state, you got to get a license to import it. So, it's logistically, it's crazy, man. Yeah, the taxes too, And some states don't make sense. Like they limit people to the amount of beer that they drink. I mean, they're going to get tax off it. I mean, what are you're crazy,
right?
You're getting tax revenue,
And PA just added, or is in the process of adding, a tax that's added to folks buying pints in breweries.
Okay.
So that's another whole thing. They're seeing how popular it is, and they're seeing where they can cash in on it. Yeah. And I know what I love about Pennsylvania. We have especially in Pittsburgh, we have a Pittsburgh Brewers Guild, where there's a lot of breweries involved in this. So when there's legislation changes, they can have one unified voice. And I definitely want to see more of that. Because that's where you're going to see a lot of the oversight is on a state level. So you have to, we all have to band together in order, our voices to have more weight.
I mean, that's another thing that I love to do. It's just I need some more sponsorship. So if you're a sponsor out there, you want to sponsor me, Michael at craftbeerstorm.com. I'd love to just get out there and work with these local, guilds and with the state organizations and try to change these laws that are really antiquated, that don't make a lot of sense. Right. And they protect a lot of these bigger distributors, which is pissing me off, which is one of the reasons why I got involved in this podcast as well, because I go into, I'm in New Hampshire. You talk about a tax. I mean, I get slammed for a meals tax for pints. Like before, it wasn't a meal. And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, by the way, it's a meal now. Your pint. So
how does it get away with that?
Well, they're the state. All these states do it differently. And then we talk about distributors. I go into a bar or restaurant. I self-distribute. Now I used to have distributors, and I'm like, yeah, we self-distribute. It's like, oh, we don't deal with self-distributors. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like right down the road from you. I'm a local brewery. Are you crazy? Like, it doesn't make sense. So there's got to be some funny business. I can't prove it, but everybody knows it exists. Everybody knows it exists. So
whoever has money,
that's what it is.
Money has the loudest voice.
Unbelievable. But what do you think about? Do you think there is a craft beer bubble, or what do you think?
I think there's a bubble for everything. I don't think we're anywhere close to it popping. And here's why. Pre-Prohibition, there were so many home brewers, and instead of bars, they had local pubs, and we're finally getting close. Now, if you break it down and compare the population to what the population was back then, with the amount of breweries and brewers that there were, we're nowhere near that.
The ratio. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nowhere near it. So is there a bubble? There's a bubble for everything. Are we anywhere near it? I don't think so.
No. Yeah, I think it's a trend that's gonna keep going, which is awesome.
Right. And as long as the craft beer industry stays true to its morals, like how it is right now, I've brewed commercially a few times, and if something broke at one brewery, we went right to the one down the street, borrowed equipment, brought it back, took care of business. Everyone helps each other. As long as that stays the same mindset, there's not a bubble.
I see that too, and that's why I got into the industry as well, because everybody helps each other out.
Right.
You know, like, oh man, I forgot to order this yeast. Do you have any? Yeah, no problem. Come by. You know, I need a bag of this grain. I don't have it. Or, you know,
or you can't get a hold of certain hops.
I had like cans. I was getting cans, right? And then on the bottom of these cans, there was like a marking, like they stamped the cans. So when the thing stamped the cans, it had this little burr on the edge, so it put a pinhole on the bottom of all the cans. So we were filling up these cans, and they were leaking. I'm like, what? And I had to get these cans out the door like the next day. We had orders. So I frantically called up a local brewery. I said, dude, I need like 20 cases of cans. Can you help me out? He's like, yeah, no problem. Come on over. So I went over and he gave me the cans, and there you go. And that saved the day.
That is awesome.
But it's stuff like that happens, and you gotta figure it out. You know, you gotta figure it out, and it's been a very experience for me. But it's been a very positive learning experience. You know, starting a business and keeping it alive and moving it forward and dealing with employees and customers and things that happen that you don't expect, and how do we get around it, and lawsuits and all kinds of crap. But you get exposed to it, and then you're like, you know what? It's okay. I'm going to take care of this. Don't worry about it. And then everything else is like minutia, you know. So it kind of puts a lot of stuff into focus. And what's like a popular beer trend over there in Pittsburgh? Like what types of beers are they liking?
Oh, those hazy IPAs, milkshake IPAs.
The milkshake ones?
Yeah, they are everywhere.
I mean, I had one like the other night, and I'm like, oh man, this thing's like cloudy, like super, like it's a milkshake, it's like orange juice, right? And I was drinking it, and I'm like, oh, it's good, you know. After about half a pint, I'm like, oh man, you know, this is like a little too much.
They're heavy. I'm not gonna. It's not a drain pour. Like, there's still good beers, and there's a lot of folks out there that fell in love with that. Like, it's to the point in Pennsylvania, if you don't have a hazy IPA on, you're going to see a lot less traffic flowing into your brewery.
Yeah.
That's how strong that trend is.
Yeah. So that's the way it is. So you just got to go with the flow.
Yep.
And
there's always something like that.
There is, yes. It's a trend. But hey, I mean, so if people want to get involved with you and find you and start ordering your products, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you jump on to firstsipbrewbox.com. That's our dedicated website. All of our social media handles are at First Sip Brew Box. So follow us on, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. We're even on Pinterest. I'm trying to figure that out. I might have to, hire like a soccer mom or someone to help me, because I really don't understand how to use
Pinterest. I don't know either. Yeah, I tried it once. I'm like, you pin stuff up, and it's like, all right, so what do I do from here?
Then there's boards, and
I don't know what. I gave up. I just gave up. But there's other,
we
there's.
know it's important.
It is important. Yes.
None of our competition's on Pinterest. So our thought process was double down on there.
It's very popular. It's crazy popular. Yeah.
Some of the market. Yeah. Absolutely. That's where you can find us. Follow us on social media. We're always doing crazy things out in the craft beer community. But to put it in order, or firstsipbrewbox.com, and we actually just launched two parts of our platform. One, we now have a pet brew box, which you can find in the shop. We worked with breweries all over the country to use their spent grain to make treats for dogs. Because everyone knows when you drink your pup, you never drink alone. So we have that pet brew box, and we also launched our business-to-business platform. All you have to do is email me at dennis@firstsipbrewbox for that, where we automate gifting for clients. Just to give you an example, we work with a real estate company. Every house they sell, we automatically send a First Sip Brew Box to that house, thanking that customer for using their realting platform, because it makes their job easier.
Wow. That's cool. I like your product. Yeah, that's good. What you're doing is great. I appreciate your service in the military. It's fantastic. And you're a good man. You're doing. We're going to meet one day. I'm going to come out there. We'll have a beer.
Don't tease me with a good time, Mike. You better come out.
I got to be a lot of places to meet a lot of people. I got to get a one-way ticket and just go like west and just stop at places. I'm like, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no problem. Come on out. I got to do it
We were just up in New Hampshire too for our
honeymoon.
Earlier actually 1 year ago. We went up through, where is it, Portsmouth?
Yeah, that's where I am. I'm in Portsmouth. Yeah.
What? That's where we were.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, we went there and then up to Maine to a national park, and we stayed in a little cabin for about a week.
Beautiful. It's beautiful up here.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come on, and I wish you the best in your business, and we'll keep in touch.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Mike.
All right, man.
To be welcomed on.
Awesome. Thank you. Yep. That was Dennis Guy. He is a good guy. He's a founder and brewer. I'm sorry, he's not a brewer. He's a CEO of First Sip Brew Box. Although he's brewed in the past, he said he's had a couple, and he home brewed too, so he got into it. But he's instead of opening a brewery, he put his money towards his First Sip Brew Box, where they package a lot of stuff. You heard him. He's connecting local businesses. He's also being a kind of a consultant to businesses because he's grown his own. So he knows what it means to start a business. Grow organically, right? Start small and then grow the thing, and then that's the only way to go. If you blow it out of the gate and just go crazy and buy crazy equipment and just produce millions of barrels of beer, you don't know what more often than not, it's just not going to work. So he's doing a good thing, promoting local beer, local products, connecting companies. It's fantastic. So I wish him the best. I want to connect with him. I'm going to keep in touch with him. It's good stuff. Do some stuff in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So watch out. Here we come. That is our podcast. If you like what we're doing, go on to iTunes, give us a rating, give us a review. 5 stars is awesome. Tell a friend, tell 10 friends, because we are here for you. We want to spread the gospel of craft beer. It's a great industry, great people. At the time of this podcast, I will probably be out in Denver at the Great American Beer Festival. Man, I just got an email. They're going to have a media bus. They're going to pick us up at the convention center and bring us to breweries. That's fantastic. I love it. I'm going to get a lot of recording out there, a lot of sound bites. I want to find brewers. I don't know if you've been to the Great American Beer Festival. Sometimes they have like a big section with larger breweries, and they have a lot of, some founders are there, so we'll get a hold of them. Brewers that are actually there, we'll talk to them. People in the industry. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I don't know if you got your ticket. I know it's sold out. But it's a good thing in Denver every year. Okay, that is our podcast for today. Oh, by the way, we have Craft Beer Weekends. Stay tuned. Victoria Inn is coming up on the 25th of October. Tickets are going. Check it out. You don't have to stay there. If you want to stay there, it's fantastic. They have like 7 rooms and, a nice intimate weekend with your partner. Ladies, bring your man bring your ladies. And you also enjoy beer and food, samplings. You get a bus picking you up, bringing you to breweries, in the area. Then you get your breakfast, beer mosas. Awesome stuff. And for a pretty good, decent price, too. So check out our website, www.craftbeerstorm.com. And you will see a link there. And then we're adding more weekends as we move along. We got a couple of other weekends that we're finalizing, and we'll post those up, let you know about them, and spread the word about local craft beer, because it's freaking awesome, man. And local businesses, which are fantastic too. So that's what it's all about, right? Okay, that's the show for today. Love you guys. I will talk to you on Wednesday. Take care.